it's Ayman, and our boys is Al Quraishi, and I think our littles, Mowgli and Lisa, Niaz, and our new guy, he want to be called Abu Hamza Al Muhajir. He is Niaz too. And we want to speak about power dynamic in the system. It wasn't my first video about power dynamic. I just deeply hate this old video and delete it. So, what is power dynamic? Just from English dictionary, okay? A power dynamic is the way different people or a different group of people interact with each other, and where one of these sides is more powerful than other side. For example, white people in our society are more powerful than black people, or people who work for the government is more powerful than people who don't work for the government. Citizens are more powerful than asylum seekers and refugees, and for example, non-disabled people are more powerful than disabled people. So, it's simple. And what about power dynamic in the system? When you're part of the multiple system, some alters have more power than other alters. For example, hosts have more power than most of the alters who don't front that much, because hosts could speak, could sign document or documents, could make the more important decision, and the alters who front in more have more power than alters who don't front in more. Alters are people. Most of the alters are just people, like people in internal world, so they have their own preferences, their own views, but not all of them could engage with the inner world like others. And it's sometimes it became not so easy to just recognize this power dynamic. I don't want to say that, for example, if you're one of your ultra and Nazi, you need to be Nazi sometimes, yeah, but you need to communicate with this ultra, or just don't make life terrible for him, because you're one system, and if something would be worse for him, it's not would be good for you too. But it's a very difficult topic about communication and system. I want to speak more about other part that most of the people don't recognize. It's power dynamic toward child alters. I try to find many information about power dynamic in the system, and most of the times, yeah, it's about power dynamic that hosts have toward other people in the system, or power dynamic that gatekeeper after alter have toward other alters, but not about adult alters toward child alters. So, many systems started to become a system. Many people started to develop like a system, not like one person, because of ageism. Ageism is discrimination based on age, and our society is deeply ageistic. So kids don't have any rights except the right for life. All the opportunity controlled by adults. And ableism and ageism are intersected, because the stereotype, like disability people just like kids, so they need full control, or autistic people just like big children, and couldn't make a wise decision about their life, for example. So ableism very often justified by ageism, and when we speak, so I think every disabled person continue to suffer because of ageism even when this person became adult. Almost in every system, in many systems, you could find child alters. And child alters are just children in adult's body. Sometimes they could have some skills that this child, this person, or most of the children don't have in this age. For example, my 4-year-old kid, my 4-year-old alter Lisa, she writes a book. And when I was 4 years old, I was writing a fictional book too, but I have more problem with writing. And Lisa finds some tips, some skills in my memory, because we have part of our common memory. And the reason why many people became dissociated is because of the child abuse, and many people internalized this kind of ageism, this kind of child abusive norms, and started to abuse their own children in the system. So ageistic system is radically wrong. Because you couldn't just judge person because of their age. Different people have different type of development, and you couldn't just take away all right from the person and after that waiting that this person became kind of good, responsible citizen, when most of the time you were waiting that this person would be obedient. And of course literally no one could have this kind of power that adults have toward their kids. This is the reason why most guys in our system support radical youth liberation movement. And I really like what Caitlin Nicola Neal, one of the activists in this movement, write about power dynamics. Yes, I think it's about power dynamics. That child abuse and child protection, most of the time, part of the same coin. I would give a link to this article. I don't remember this quote properly, but I said it as I remember it. Yeah. Child abuse and child protection is the same part. It's a different side of one coin. Child abuse and child protection is a different side of one coin. And so we try to avoid now child abuse and in our system, and that's mean to try to avoid all this hyper protection stuff and all stuff when we try to erase child opinion. Of course, kids couldn't do something, but for example, what we are doing, first of all, if our littles want to say something, we just try to give them this opportunity. And now I started dissociated, maybe because it's so many people in cons with me, maybe because of the Lisa and her problem with speech. And if our littles want to participate in this project, for example, or in any other our projects, we just want to give them this opportunity. Or if our little Lisa want to write her book and to want to make her book published, I would try to publish it. We were so many years, we were silent for who we are, because we were autistic, we were trans, and yeah, because we were kids. And I don't throw silent our littles. The second, I don't want to speak about all littles, and yeah, I understand that in some system it's not safe, especially if these children or the system were traumatized by publicity, by maybe cyberbullying. It's not safe to make them visible. It's not safe for kids to write about themselves, to speak about themselves. Not all kids want it. And yeah, the second question is about all kids. It's not some such thing that like all kids. Like it's no such thing that all alters or all people. All people are different. It doesn't matter if this person is 2 years old, 5 years old, or 95 years old. The same with alters. Though, it's different rules, with different alters, and different alters have different values and different skills. I don't want to judge my alters or make some assumption because of their age, only because of their skills and because of their views. So I don't want to say, for example, that Lisa couldn't write her book because Lisa is 4 years old. If she wants to write her book, she could write her book. If she can write her book, she could write her book. If she could tell a story and someone else would write, she could write her book. And if the story would be good, it doesn't matter if she's 4 years old or she's 44 years old. The same with money. In our system, it doesn't matter how old you are. What is matter, couldn't you manage the money? Not the age, but your skills. And the skills could change. For example, we have one of our alter, Verba. I think she's deeply traumatized and she's disabled. And she couldn't manage money, and she tried to heal her body several times, and she couldn't front. We couldn't let her front all by herself because it's really dangerous for us. But not because she's 12, but because of these problems that we try to find solution for these problems with our therapist. And for example, in our system, 4 years old Mowgli and Lisa have more opportunities than Verba because they really could do more. And when we have this question, what we can do if our little doing something weird, we ask this question, what we can do if any other alters would do something weird. For example, what we could do if our little Mowgli want to spend all our money and buy candy. Another question, what we could do if, for example, our 74 years old Eric decided to spend all our money for candy, of course, communicate with him. For example, if any kid, it doesn't matter alter or not, would run away on the street, run away on the road, what adults need to do? If your friend would run away on the road and don't realize the danger, what you could do? It's not about some kind of mystical child protection because children are children. It's more about a real situation and understanding that this person have in this particular time. So I understand that I have some kind of ageistic stereotypes, and when I'm thinking about kids, alters or other kids, I just use the word people when I think kid. For example, if this kid do something, if my wife, if my friend, and after that I know the answer. And I just try to check my privilege like an adult person and like a host in the system. And yeah, sometimes I make mistakes. For example, one of the time I was thinking that Mowgli just go away because you are little, you couldn't knew it. You couldn't knew what's going on. At first, he really could, but I was thinking this because I internalized all this ageistic stuff from the culture and what to do in these circumstances. I don't think that you could control your thoughts. Yeah, and many times you also could knew what you were thinking. In this situation, you could just apologize, like you could apologize when you communicate with any other person or with any other elders. Yeah, and in some kinds, mistakes really help to learn. And I think it's what you need to know that just you would make this mistake. It's not the question that you couldn't, but one night you decided I wouldn't be an ageist, and in the morning you became anti-ageist. No, it's not working like this. It's constant checking the privilege, it's constant communication. It's first it could be exhausted, but it's worth it. I think it was it. And so I couldn't say that stuff like just let your littles to participate in your projects or just let your littles to make some kind of decision, because yeah, all littles are different and this is one of the first rules. Just recognize that littles are people, and I hope everything would be fine. And Lilian, she is our primary protector and she spent most of the time with littles, and yeah, now she wants to say that it's true, that everything would be fine. Everything should be fine. In the question how many times you need to make this fine. So I really hope that you could achieve it. Thank you very much for your attention. Please like our videos, left your comments and share it with your friends to make this channel more visible. Subscribe to our channels. Bye, see you next time.